Like they really don't. Like
people don't talk about that. It's like, oh, you go from one thing to another thing, and it's like, hello, this is now my new lifestyle. Like,
right.
When you go through a lifestyle change in general, like people need to talk about that a little bit more because it's not easy. It's not like really there's not. No linear thing. Like there's no manual that you get either.
Because when you're an athlete, it's very linear.
Exactly. So I think that's the difference.
Yeah.
Is that like you have a lot of people who are athletes, and then you go through this transition of knowing, okay, this is one step, this is one step, this is one step, and then like you step out into the real world, and it's like, hold on.
It's like you got to take step 1, step 1A, step 1B, step 1C,
literally,
step 1Z, step 2,
like, and in reverse. No, seriously though, it's literally like that, and like it's hard, like trying to navigate and think that you're gonna put one step forward and hope that the next step is like right there, and then like, no, girl, you already tripped. You gotta bounce back, figure it out. Like
it's like you really can't even talk about it, or not even just because people will think that when you're talking about it, you're complaining about it. It's like, no, I'm not complaining about it. I'm just telling you what's going on.
And it's like, and it's more like what I'm noticing now more than ever is that like when you talk to people, it's like they either take it as a complaint or they think you're bragging, and it's like, no, I'm like filling you in so you know what to look out for or what to be prepared for and all this. And it's like, no, I always say everybody's fighting a battle behind closed doors. And your shit ain't bigger than somebody else's. So be willing to listen to people's experiences because it might help yours. And that's the whole point of this podcast.
Yours and theirs.
You might have insight that they don't know. That you might have like this mindset that they're like, damn, that's probably something I should, look into or tap into.
I agree.
And this is why I'm doing this podcast.
Yeah. No, literally. I agree. I appreciate it. I feel like we're all, especially the what generation are we? I'm
well, we're millennials.
I'm Gen Z.
Are you?
97.
Yo, I've been following you for so long. That's insane.
Yeah. I'm like right on the cusp though. Like
right. That's exactly why. Like, now that I've been following you for so long, I remember when you committed to Texas A&M.
Texas.
I'm sorry. I got you committed to Texas. And I was like, wow, she's doing what I wanted to do, but I stayed my ass up north. And I was like,
do you like it up there?
I mean, yes and no. Like, you're secluded. You're like away from people, so it keeps you not distracted, but then like you're more susceptible to things happening to you because there's not a lot of us. And when I first got there, it's PWI, and there was literally 7 of us. I can count. And then as time went on, they got more and more, which was great, but at the same time did not do enough to include more and more, you know what I mean? Like to make sure that everybody was included in all these experiences and what they like. So it was a little rough, but
I can say that Texas had a similar vibe because it's PWI is in Austin.
Yeah,
Austin is predominantly white area, but there is a community down there that focuses on Black people and Black culture, and that's where I gravitated to the most throughout when I was in Texas. Not saying that I wasn't with the athletes, like I was for sure.
Yeah, of course.
I was sure with the athletes, but I made it my mission, honestly, for my career, for my collegiate career, to connect with people outside of athletics. Like I was a part of the African American Cultural Committee.
Love it.
At Texas, and I was in a fashion show for for an event. Like I was a counselor at one of the camps. Like I made sure that I I truly connected with people outside.
And I think that's like very, very important. Like we didn't see, that's the difference, is that where we were in New Hampshire, there was none of that. Like they had like the clubs, but then like you'll show up to the club meeting and ain't nobody there. Or like there wasn't when I say there wasn't enough, there wasn't enough. And we would have to go to a whole different side of town to just see other Black people. And it's like, this ain't safe. Like this doesn't feel safe for me at all. And it was just like got to the point where I was just like, okay. Like we had what was called Pumpkin Fest, which means like in October they gather all these pumpkins, whatever. And obviously we in New Hampshire, so they love this, and it's enjoyable. I don't know if you heard about the Keene State riot. There was a riot that happened over freaking pumpkins.
What?
Literally, a whole SWAT team. They shooting rubber bullets.
What was this?
This was 2014.
2000?
2014. 2014, and we're running like hauling ass through the city of Keene, New Hampshire to get away from these cops because kids are flipping cars, they're breaking shit, they're throwing things and all this stuff. And I'm like, this is insane. And this is a riot on campus grounds. Mm-mm. And y'all are just like shooting rubber bullets at students.
Mm-mm. That's not okay.
And this is after Trayvon Martin. This is after, and it's like, you know, as a Black kid and two other, because it was the four of us, it's my group of friends from college. We have one white girl and three Black girls. And it's like, she's not understanding what's going on. I'm like, right now, this is a dangerous, like, environment. just environment for us to just be even walking in. She was like, no, we have to haul ass, and we're hauling ass. Yeah. We're running for our lives, because at that point, they can accidentally switch from rubber to
bullets. Yeah.
You know,
and even those rubber bullets hurt.
They hurt. So, like, to me, it's like, at that moment, I knew, I was like, I know I have to be walking on ice in this area. Like, there was no safety. Yeah. You walk into diners or you walk into restaurants and everybody's head turns.
I can imagine in New Hampshire. I can imagine. I've never been up there.
Girl, and don't get me wrong, it's beautiful. Great hiking. There's some people who are very nice. You know, I love thrifting up there because it's a little bit cheaper. But, like, there's certain things that you know that you just cannot do. And it's hard.
Yeah, it is. It is.
Being in college and knowing that you have to, like,
find your way.
Yeah, you know, at that point in time, you're still trying to find yourself. And now you're like,
I got to worry about these external things.
Exactly. On top of
internally going through stuff.
Exactly.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you're doing it right, though, by providing this, like, space for people to talk about.
I mean, I feel like that's important, is that, like, we all talk about what's going on in everybody else's life, but we forget to talk about, like, our own experiences.
Yeah. And I'm glad you made that point, because people talk about, oh, how was the Olympics? I'm like, I truly, like, I felt like I was just doing it. Like, there was no...
Really?
Yeah, like, I don't even know how to explain.
So going from a collegiate athlete to Olympic athlete, like, what was that transition like?
Oh, man. I'm glad you're asking me this, because it is something that I have to start talking about.
Yeah.
Like you said, just because people are going through it and they don't fully know or understand the story. But my experience was kind of seamless in a way.
Really?
Because I was still at Texas. I had that support at Texas.
Okay.
And the pandemic kind of fluffed that experience. Because it was my first year pro.
Right.
Our season was like, we don't know what we're doing because the Olympics is canceled.
Right.
So really, COVID, I was making money and then wasn't really doing nothing. So I had this, what is it, like this fog around my eyes of just, oh, this is what pro life is? Yeah. You know, like, I can do whatever I want, but no, you can't.
Train.
Yeah, you still gotta train.
You got all these disciplines.
You still gotta save money. You still gotta pay taxes. You still gotta do all the due diligence. Yeah, like adult stuff. And I'm fresh out of college. I graduated college in December 2019, and that was 2 months after I came back from Doha from World Championships. And I was just on a high from there too, because I was like, I was the only
killed
it. I can tell you from 2019 up until the end of 2021, it was like a world of bliss for me. But it was bliss on the outside, but internally I was truly like facing problems, like true problems that I wasn't really even ready to face at that time. And I'm facing them now. Yeah. If that makes sense.
No, it does. Yeah. It's like you kind of push it on the back burner and then now it comes back to bite you.
It definitely was like a whole like a whole like 360 effect. Like I start in 2018. Lost my dad that year.
Yeah, I'm so sorry.
Girl. You know, I'm kind of I got to the point when it comes to like death and families, because my sister passed in 2022.
Right.
It's like that's a part of life, and I would be doing a disservice to them and myself if I stopped living. So and I'm not trying to push it to the backside, because I have faced it. That was very apparent this past season. I was facing it publicly. I wasn't running well.
Yeah.
I was fighting with my contract being taken away. I was in a whole new training group, whole new environment. I was back home, which I really didn't want to go back home in the first place. Well, like I did want to come back and be close to my family, but I didn't want to go back home like the way that I did.
Yeah.
And yeah, but back to 2018. Lost my dad, went through the season, didn't do well. Got ready for my senior year. My senior year, I locked in, did what I needed to do. Got my PR down to 10.9, 22.5. Made the world champ. Well, won USA's. Made the world championship team. Well, back up. NCAA's. Yes. Got my contract.
Okay.
But and they don't tell you this, it was a lot of us that came out that year. A lot of us.
Yeah.
And the money was scarce.
Oh.
So I got the real short end of the stick because of how I performed. And that's why performance is so important for seniors, because they look at that. That's
your critical year.
Yes, that is the critical year. So that's why I wanted to do so well. But me just being big-headed and young, I'm like, oh, well, championships is in my hometown. You know, not hometown, but like at my home track, da-da-da-da.
It should be an easy breeze.
Yeah, but it wasn't though. Obviously it was not.
No.
So so I got fourth. Nike threw me a number. I took it because that was what my agents told me it was my only option. I really didn't want to, but they told me that was my only option. Come USA's, I win USA's. I get my bonus from my base. I get my base increased, because that was a part of my contract. If I ran a certain time or won USA's within the first 2 years of my contract, I would up my base. Did that straight out the gate. Got my bonuses from USA, from Worlds. I was like, okay, cool. This is cool. Living life. Like, I thought I was doing what I was supposed to do.
This is great. This is great. Okay.
But in reality, I should have asked for more, because I knew my value, but they didn't respect my value. If that makes sense.
No, I know.
Yeah. So that was that. What else happened? But mind you, though, I will highlight the positive. My coaching at the time, they advocated for me as best as they could, and did what they could for me at that moment. But yeah, 2020, very unpredictable. Don't know what's gonna happen. Pandemic was really like having the time of my life, for real. Like
as everybody else was.
Man, I was having the time of my life. Like, but I should have been making smarter moves though around that time. Like, I should have saved a lot more. I should have bought property. I should have, done my due diligence. But I'm not gonna, shame myself for that.
No, I mean, sometimes we make decisions in that moment because that's what feels right. I always
that's
say,
what we are.
Try not to go back and look at like what I could have done when you did what was right in that
moment. In that moment. That's exactly how I felt.
Now that transition from
2020 to 2021.
Right. So then going ahead and competing in the Olympics and like getting on that podium, what the heck does that feel like? Like it has to feel crazy compared to like high school and then college. It's like, all right, but then like the Olympics, I feel like that's I wouldn't say every track athlete, but myself, that was my like dream. And then like watching on that was like, oh my God, like, this is insane. So how did that feel?
I was definitely happy. I was happy in the moment. I was ecstatic. I couldn't really believe it, honestly. Like even the whole time I was there, I was like, dang, I'm really in Tokyo right now for the Olympics.
I know.
Like I made a video. I posted it on my Instagram. I made a video in the jacuzzi literally the day before the 100-meter first rounds, and I was just thanking God. I was like, I can't believe it. Like I'm here. Like you brought me here. Yeah. Like genuinely, like I would not have been there if it wasn't for God. And I'm not even joking.
Like all strength, glory,
everything,
and path, it comes from Him.
Everything,
Absolutely.
everything. Genuinely. So I that year I was having bad back issues. Like during Mount Sac, when I ran 11.3 that same year, my back gave out at the end of that race, and I was just like, oh my gosh, my season's over. Like I was dreading it. I was like, I can't believe this is happening. But my coach at the time was just like, look, you need to lock in. Like this, you only got 6 weeks left before the trials. Right. Like what you gonna do? So I just decided to just work. He said, we're gonna shut down your season. We're just gonna train, get you stronger, and we're gonna see where it goes at trials. Did exactly what I needed to do in those 6 weeks. Came to USA's, I was very confident. Like good. I was so confident in what I had going on. Like, cause we were in Oregon for 2 weeks straight, 3 weeks maybe. No, was it almost a month? I think it was almost. Because
you always have to go there like 2 weeks beforehand, don't you?
Yes, we have to go there about a week before, because trials is long.
Yeah, I know.
We had to go about a week before, but we had NCAAs because I was running under like with the Texas coach, because I was a volunteer. Yeah, I was a volunteer coach. So I was with Texas up until their NCAAs, and then right after NCAAs, I basically kind of departed from their schedule and was on my own, on my own. Yeah. So I still stayed in a graduate by myself. Like I had a little corner room. It was nice too. It was big, and I just stayed there the whole time. And I didn't really venture out. I had a rental car. Was just doing my own thing. I wasn't really talking to a lot of people around that time.
Trying to stay to yourself. Yeah, like and you're still locked in moment. Yes, like it's like don't distract yourself. Don't. Right. No, I know.
Yeah, so that's where I was watching Harry Potter for the first time. Like
I had free time.
Yeah, like I was talking to one of my good friends back then on FaceTime all the time. We were just like it was just my time to myself, and I had my affirmations on I wrote a whiteboard. I had my affirmations on my whiteboard. Yeah, I wrote it on my window.
Do you remember any of the affirmations that you gave yourself?
I wrote a sentence saying, I will make the USA Olympic team in the 100-meter at whatever time it was on this date. I literally wrote it out.
Nice.
And like visually wrote out everything that I wanted to do that weekend, and I wrote it out. And I didn't make it for the 200. But I made it for the 100, and I was happy. I was happy. I was ecstatic. I cried to my mom. I was like, we did it. Like,
what in that, like, so like, and this is for obviously the people who don't know what it's like to run track or do an individual sport that makes a huge difference.
Yes.
But like in that moment of competing and knowing you're about to compete, like what runs through your head? Like me, I know that I would like lock in, I would say my prayer, and I would just say like, we got to get this to get to the next step. And that was always my saying, is like, we got to get this to get to the next step, because every time you get one win, it gets you closer to your goal.
That's the linear.
That's the linear. So what were things that were going through your head?
Honestly, I was just thinking like one step at a time. Like after I made it past the first round, I checked it off my board and just moved on to the next.
Love it.
Honestly. Yeah, my doctor at the time, Dr. Noah, he works with Tara Davis and a couple other athletes too, and Kendra Harrison and Jenna Prendy. Nice. We all worked with him, and he like specializes in like holistic recovery. Yeah, nice. Practices in recovery, but he's also has a background of chiropractor. So he has this thing called NET where you basically he checks in with your nervous system, making sure that everything is aligned, and he has you say these sayings similar to like he would have me say, I am ready, willing, and able to X, Y, and Z.
So he had you saying mantras and affirmations to see if they were connecting.
Yes,
I love that.
So so that's something that I relied on in a way, just kind of just truly believe in that.
Yeah.
And I would tell myself that all the time.
Did you like? It's like you had to speak kindly to yourself.
Yes, you do. You literally have to. I mean, like like some people can get over with saying like, get your stuff together.
Get your shit together.
Yeah, like they can say that to themselves and it works, but for me specifically, no. I can't speak like that over myself.
Yeah, no, I learned that the hard way.
Yeah,
like, I can't talk to myself like
that. Because words are powerful.
Very.
Like they mean
because if you're telling yourself, like me personally, if I'm telling myself get my shit together, I'm also telling myself like the effort that I put in is not enough.
Yeah,
and it's like no, I'm like doing exactly what I need to do. I like that. That's a good idea. Now, what would you tell your 10-year-old self if you could go back in time? I know everybody ponders on this question.
There's two things I would say. Leave the boys alone.
Okay.
Number one.
Yes.
Leave them boys alone. And always advocate for yourself. That's probably the number one thing. Although I've always had somebody advocating for me. I've always had really not until my dad passed. But my dad was really that person to really advocate for me. Like, prime example, at Texas, there was some things going on with scholarships, and I wasn't getting the full ride. So my dad called and said, this girl is not getting on this plane. It was after Christmas break. She's not getting on this plane until y'all have a full scholarship ready when she lands.
Period. Poop.
And when I got back, I got my scholarship.
So, but it's true though.
Yeah. So even though like I didn't realize how powerful that was for my life until years later, but just I really wished after he passed, those couple years after, that I was more prepared to advocate for myself.
It's also a nerve-wracking thing when you're stepping into that, at pro level, because it's like you don't know what to expect, but you also don't know what to do. And this is why I wanted to interview you, is because we have so many young women who are stepping into the same light as you and don't know what to expect, what to do, what to say, who to talk to, and it's like,
I will say one thing: understand contract language.
Like, get yourself an attorney.
Get yourself an attorney. Yes. Get yourself an attorney to look at that contract before you sign it. Don't listen to. I mean, hopefully you have an agent that is in your corner truly. Get an attorney. Period.
Yeah, heard what she said. Get an attorney.
Get an attorney for one. Oh man. Like I said, just trusting yourself. Keep doing the work. Don't stop. Do not. If you have one win, don't stop doing the work.
Oh, absolutely.
Do not. If there is one thing that happens, like if something happens, in your family, and it's taking a big mental toll on you, communicate that.
Yeah.
Understand what communicating that even looks like. Yes. Have somebody. Make sure that your coach or whoever is training you is receptive and understanding of your emotions, your how you process things, and can push you to the point where you're not mentally messing yourself up, but you can still physically do what you need to do. Yeah, if that makes sense.
No, it makes sense. It's like you have to have a coach that is willing to listen.
Yes.
Right? You can't have somebody who's just like drill. It's like, okay, a coach's job is not to nourish, but it is to educate, push, but also be that listening ear. Because at the end of the day, if you can't hear your athlete, you can't hear their troubles, and you don't know, one, how to use it, and two, don't know how to communicate with them, you're not going to get through to them.
Yeah.
And that's something I learned as a coach training kids, is like, you have to, like, I told myself, I'm going to be exactly who I needed when I was at that age.
Yep.
Somebody who's going to listen and guide, and not baby, but guide. Hey, this is what I can see. This is my potential that I see in you. This is what I know you can do. What are you, like, my favorite question to ask my kids, what are your goals? What are your goals? What do you want to accomplish this season? Okay, cool. Back. So now write down steps as to what's going to take. And now look at your schedule as far as what meets we have coming next, and put down, all right, I did this time, that time, this time. I want to get to this on this meet, that and that meet. And also understand that even if you don't accomplish that goal, it doesn't mean that you're less than.
It doesn't.
It means that you're more capable, because now you know what it feels like not to get to it. It's like, I wish there are a lot of great coaches out there. A lot of great coaches out there, but there are coaches that don't realize how much they hinder their own athletes. Yeah, girl. We don't. That's a whole different story we'll talk about separately, because that is a lot. But like, for you, that, because now you're coaching. How is that now, looking at, like, knowing who you were and now helping them out? How was that for you?
It's fun. Like, I genuinely do like training. Like, I do. It's cool to see their interest in something that, you know, I saw interest in back then. Yeah. And just to see it makes you go back, like you said, just go back to your younger self and like say, like, okay, what did I really need to hear in this moment? Yeah. Like, one of my athletes, she's having trouble going over hurdles, jumping over hurdles. She's a middle schooler, very sweet young lady. And I just have her do an alternative way of jumping over them. So I flip them over and make it a little smaller for her so she can jump over.
Small hurdles.
Yeah. So I also make her go over the big ones at least once. Like, I was like, okay, no, we're going to attack this right now, because you can do this. Yeah. You were able to do it. But when we're done with this one, I'll give you your smaller ones. But let's try it.
Do it once, and then we backtrack and we do the small ones. Yeah.
And I feel like back when I was a kid, a lot of the coaches that got the best out of me did things like that. Yeah. Honestly, like, my shout out to Coach Rick, love him to death. That's my dude. He's the men's sprint coach for FSU now. And he instilled that in me, honestly. Like, there are a lot of things that I was scared to do coming into my junior year when I transferred from Dr. Phillips to the First Academy. And that's when I truly made my transition and saying, okay, track is really my thing. Like, I feel like I can be very successful in this. My dad felt like I was, and he's the one that actually pushed me to do it, to go to a different school to get a little better opportunity.
I mean, he was a smart man. And he was. And look at where you are now. Like,
exactly.
What are some things that you had to sacrifice to get to where you are? Like, obviously, I wouldn't say the deaths are a sacrifice, because they're not. There were momentum moments that actually get you further. But like, what did you have to sacrifice to be who you are now?
It's the time, my time. Yeah, my time. Genuinely, like, and that was okay. So last year with me, that was probably my worst year ever. 2022, no. 2023.
As I said, girl, we in 2024.
No, I know, right? 2020. I know, right? Shoot, where am I? 2023 was probably my worst career in like track season ever. Backstory: when I was in Doha, when I ran my season's best, I had food poisoning that same morning, throwing up everything that I had ate down, and it was really, really bad. So I had my season's best with food poisoning. Wow. The next day we fly to Kenya. When we trained the day after that, I tweaked my hamstring, probably because I'm dehydrated. Right. And still running the race though, because my coach was telling me just push through it. But genuinely, I should have just sat down, honestly. But no, I was like, it was a hard time. It was a real hard time. I didn't trust myself all last year. I didn't trust what I was doing. I really didn't. Genuinely, I know deep down that I didn't want to be out there, because my sister just passed, and my mind just
wasn't there
in it at all. And I was saying, and I was actually just saying that, and it's, I feel like the detriment to my season last year was definitely me. And I'll take accountability on that because I made a lot of excuses for myself. I was not even just saying the death of my sister, right? I let my contract situation mess up my head because I did bad in because I didn't make the final in 2022, Nike reduced my contract last year by over like 50%.
Okay.
Over 50%, actually.
Gotcha.
So a lot of the funds that I was having for recovery, for all of that, and mind you, I'm moving back home. I don't really know anybody like that.
That's gonna help.
So yeah, so I am coming out of pocket for everything, but there's nothing to come out of. So I was dealing with a whole other
the
financial
play catch up game.
Yes, I was playing catch up all last year, all last year. But to go back to the original thought, that the transitions of one part of your year to the next, you really just have to stay locked in all the way to what you're doing.
You're given, when you sacrifice your time, it's like you realize at that moment, you don't realize how much time, but you like look back and it's like, damn,
I lost a lot of time. Like I missed so many things when it came to like my nephews, my baby nephew, the one that, well, my oldest nephew, he's the one that my sister's son, one that passed away. I missed out on a whole bunch of moments with him, football games, but literally like a month before she passed, I was going to every football game because I was home.
Yeah.
And I thank God for that time.
Yeah.
Because I spent time with my sister that I wasn't able to spend time with her before when I was over in Texas.
It's like you, and this is why I always say God play a funny little game.
He does.
God be God in, because he'll give you those moments that you don't even realize are going to be your last.
Mm-hmm. And I do not take for granted those moments. And because I felt like I was sacrificing my time again, being somewhere that I didn't want to be, I was like self-sabotaging myself throughout my whole entire season last year.
Is this something that you regret?
No, because I think it got me here.
Yeah.
Like I can't even be mad. Yeah, even though I'm not where I was, I am so much further than what I was back in December, back in what was it? August. I was a product of, I almost committed suicide last year.
Wow.
Because of everything that was going on.
Too much going on at the same time.
So much going on at one time.
How'd you get through it?
I called my mom. That same moment that I wanted to ram my freaking car into the train. Because I had train tracks where I used to live downtown. And I literally wanted to just stop my car on the train tracks. But I called my mom called my auntie and my sister, and my tribe was there for me. Genuinely, like they were there for me, having that support. Like I don't think anything that's happened to me from then to now is an accident. And from that moment, from August until now, I created my business. I got that launch, and I have a whole bunch of different opportunities that I've been presented that I can't even question. like I cannot question. Like this month, actually, I'm speaking with one of my professors back at Texas, Dr. Moore, at the Black Student Athlete Summit. He invited me out there to LA to go speak. Yeah, to go speak to him.
That's amazing.
So I can't. That's why I'm like, I'm not even gonna harp on or say, oh, I wish I was running right. No.
You're getting to do things that you didn't even think were gonna come your way.
Exactly. Wow. I honestly thought I wouldn't have survived. In December, I found out that I was pregnant, but I had an ectopic pregnancy where the egg
is inside.
Inside your body, not inside the tube. So I had to get a procedure done. Recovering from that was a whole other beast. Like not even just the physical part, but the mental part.
Yeah, because you at that time you don't really know, and then they tell you this, and it's like, oh, okay, cool, and then it's like, well, this is also on top of this, and it's like, hold on.
Exactly. I was actually genuinely, when I found out I was pregnant, I was so happy.
Oh my goodness, I was like, yay! So I can only imagine being happy and then having to be knocked down again, and then, and it's at that time it's like one thing after another, after another, and after another.
But you know what saved it though? Me coming back to my faith, me coming back to myself.
It always does.
Yeah. And
it always does.
And going back to what really truly made me happy. And that's what makes me happy is like being around my family, you know, having access to my family, having time to myself. Like I sometimes like to go do meditation out here. Like, you know, like it's just those little moments.
Stop, you're gonna make me cry because I tell people that all the time. It's like, you have to, when you are in your dark moments, you have to find you all over again. And it's going to be uncomfortable and it's not going to feel right. And you're going to question yourself, but you have to get back to that. And whatever made you happy, you have to get back to that too.
Yep. What started though was honestly just me taking accountability to what happened, what went wrong first last year. And within myself, I took accountability for that with me, you know, honestly, like kind of just giving myself away and just fighting. I was just always here. Like I was literally I felt like I was fighting myself. I felt like I was fighting everybody around me. I know I was not a good person last year. I know I wasn't, because I was so hurt inside. I was going through it, and I allowed myself to externally show that and be that person. And I don't think anybody around me deserved that at all. But
you growing.
Yeah, that's the thing.
The fact that you can even say that you're growing.
Yeah,
because it takes a lot to even say like, all right, I have to be accountable for what I did to myself, to my career, and say, okay, I know all these things were put in my path and kind of disrupted my path at the same time. But to say that I could take accountability for that and I can give myself grace and I am happy with where I am right now, that is growth.
Yeah, it is. It is. Because at first, a lot of people are like, oh, do you miss running right now? I'm like, no, I don't. I like what I'm doing right now. I like lifting. I like, you know, and I will get back to running eventually. But I'm cool right now. Yeah. Like I'm solid. Like I'm good.
Who was your role model growing up? I had Allison Felix, Sonny Richard Ross, like, and meeting them, first of all, sweet ladies. Allison they're just so genuine, so nice. So who did you have?
Shelly.
Okay.
Ain't no question.
Yeah, I was like, that makes sense. That makes sense.
Shelly
all the way.
Man, on my Finsta, it's crazy. On my Finsta, literally a year before the trials in 2021, I posted a video of Shelly's race when she won the Olympics. I think it was her first time winning the 100 in the Olympics. And I was like, oh my gosh, I can't wait to be on that, you know, that stage, And I was, I mean, not that I didn't win an individual event, but winning that relay, I was like, man, I was happy.
You're going against the top people in the world, not just like you're going against the top people in the world. Girl, first of all, obviously this is our first time meeting. But I've been following you for some time. Yeah. And when you said that you was, first of all, you know, as a track athlete, you watch things on TV, you know, paying attention. And I watched, I was like, is that, hold on. And then to watch you on TV, I'm yelling at you. I was like, do you know her? Yes, I do. Like, that is huge.
Thank you.
That is that's every track athlete's dream. If you are into it, that is what you want for yourself. And I would never dumb that down. Like that is a great moment. And I know coming home was probably insane.
Yeah.
Oh, when you posted that video, I was like, yo, you got so much love coming home. That has to be like the best feeling.
Yeah,
it was knowing that you had your country on your back, but as well as your relay, and then your college and your family. It's like.
Yeah, it was. And then also too, that was right. I came home right after Prefontaine when I PR'd.
Yeah.
So I was already on the phone. And I was going on vacation right after that too. Yeah. So I was like, I had a trip planned to Mexico. Yeah, it was, man, that when I came home and just saw all my, first of all, I didn't even know that was gonna happen. I thought it was just with my mama and my family, but literally like my mom's support, like my old, track coaches was there and everything. That was really, really big for me. Like I really appreciated just knowing that Orlando had my back. Yeah, like that was it. And I'm feeling love now. Just being in the community and like working with my mom and seeing, the parents that supported me when I was gone, and them telling me, how much I'm inspiring them, and also just the kids.
Yeah.
Like there's a little girl I met the other day. It's my mom's what is it? Not line sister. She's in Greek. Her sister. Her sister in Greek. And it's her niece, and she said, she's like, "Oh, you're Teahna." She's like, "I see you on YouTube all the time." And I was like, I don't even know this girl. And then like literally 2 seconds later, she came back. 2 minutes later, she came back to me. She was like, "Can you teach me how to get in the blocks?" Literally. Like we were at a celebration for my mom.
She's like, "Girl, let's go outside."
Yeah, she was like, "Can you teach me how to get in the box?" And I was like, "Yeah, sure." And I showed her the position. I was like, "Look, this is what you do, X, Y, and Z." And yeah, now
that's gonna be you for the rest of your life.
Yeah, it is. Like it is. Like I've embraced it. Like I've embraced it. The kids at my mom's school, "Miss T, race me." No.
Don't.
I was like, bro.
My kids try to get me all the time. They were like, "Coach, let's hop on." No.
I was like, if you don't got $100K, nah. Put it on the table. I'll just be joking with them, but like, nah, like this, it's cool. It's a very humbling feeling.
Experience, yeah.
Yes, because it happens almost every day.
Yeah.
So it's being reminded. It kind of makes me check in with myself and say, like, all right, T, like you are who you say you are. Like, yeah.
Well, Teahna, I will ask you, what is your current vibration right now? What is a song that gets you out the funk, on the move? Like, what is your current vibration right now?
It's crazy you just asked me that. No, because I was literally just listening to my song. Like one of my Not an Angel by Tim's. That's my song.
Yes. And they're like,
yes, like I can be in my crib cooking. I was cooking breakfast right before you came, and I was listening to that song, and I was like, yeah, T, like this is literally your anthem right now.
I love it. I love it. Well, Teahna, I appreciate you letting me bombard your day.
No worries. No, I appreciate
this interview, but also, is there any piece of advice that you would like to share with the younger generation or anybody that is stepping into your blocks? Like, what would you like to tell them?
Like you just said, step into your blocks. It's you. Honestly, it's you, your faith, and you trusting your value in yourself and what you can produce. So
Okay. Yes. I appreciate you.
Yeah, I appreciate you too.
Guys, thank you for watching Libation and Vibration. I know we didn't even give you guys an intro. We just kind of flowed right into it. But thank you guys for watching, and we will see you guys soon. Perfect.
Yes. Thank you, Mama.
No problem. No, thank you.
Yeah, girl, that my whole experience.